All right, YouTubers. What we have here is there's rutabaga, there are potatoes, there are carrots, and there are onions in this for the pasty mix. Yep, and it's gonna be vegan, made by a Youper who used to make normal, air quotes, pasties. I'm gonna try to veganize it. If you want to try to make pasties like this Youper makes, all you have to do is not use the impossible meat we're gonna use and use regular hamburger. We'll be back. So, as her being a real cook, she suffers from the same disease I do a lot of times, and that's called not measuring stuff. In here, there's one medium-sized rutabaga.
Yes.
There were 4 medium potatoes diced up small, about 4 carrots and a small white onion. So that's really about it. It's not overly complicated. Now it's just making the dough for the pasty shell. Didn't show the whole process, but make a basic pie shell. I'm sure I'll say it more than once. Replace the impossible meat with regular meat and you will have normal pasties. This, whilst you were away, we made this dough to make the pasty shell crust, whatever you want to say. Okay, there's no we to this. She made it while I was editing some silly video that you may have already watched. It's normal pie crust dough. The only thing that makes it vegan is instead of lard or regular butter, used vegan butter. If you don't want it vegan, use either lard or regular butter to make your normal pie crust dough. Okay, more to come. And that is the meat. Again, air quotes, impossible. We're going to start off with 1 package of it. It goes right in there. I'm going to break it up first.
Yeah. It's a little moister than ground beef would be.
It's a little more moist than ground beef, I'm told, and maybe you heard. And again, if you were going to cook this, I would suggest use an impossible and not Beyond, because I think I said in another video, the Beyond is very pungent, very almost overwhelming. Great as a burger, but probably not as good in this because you're looking for a little bit of delicate. You know, you're not looking for a bam in your face kind of taste or feel. And I know that one thing that's going to go in here is a good amount of pepper. Okay, we're going to go to a bigger bowl, YouTubers. I did it, and no rutabagas were hurt. If you're a Youper, you say beggies. Okay, now can I mix with my hands?
Yes.
Yes, now I can mix with my hands. It feels like real hamburger. It really does. If you haven't tried Impossible, you'll be surprised. Yeah, I think it feels a lot like hamburger. Don't you?
Yeah.
It smells like hamburger. Mm-hmm. Again, much different than Beyond. But I have heard a lot of vegans talk that they prefer Beyond to Impossible. But then also a lot of vegans say they don't like either because it's too real. They've gotten used over years to not eating meat. It is coarse, you're right. They've gotten used to not having the taste of meat, and this kind of freaks vegans out sometimes. Or maybe people trying to get used to it might be the way to go because you're staying more familiar. Feel and texture. The more familiar is what I found works best for me. About a teaspoon of salt. Mix that all up. I like using my hands. My grandmother would be happy with me. Look at the stick to my hands. All right, now pepper. In my opinion, you can't put too much pepper in a pasty. I think a lot of times some of the worst pasties just they need more pepper. They don't have a lot of flavor to them. Or they use meat that's too lean. So that's going to make it interesting to see how the Impossible does. All right. Whilst you was away and off camera, we added a good bit more pepper. You should be able to see pepper throughout most of that. It's a It's an important staple seasoning in pasties, I think, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You can see, again, everything goes in here uncooked. That includes if you were using real ground beef, you don't cook it first. And none of your vegetables get cooked because they're going to get cooked while you bake them. They're going to release all their oils and goodness into each other. And hopefully you end up with a nice, dense, yet moist pasty. We shall see. You can see that good amount of pepper. All right, what you're seeing here is pasties I bought at Gene K's to take back with me for the winter. We were just having a conversation that when she has made pasties over the years, she kind of calls them a doorstop. So they might not come out like a professional job. I told her that was fine. She says she may want to try one with the more traditional edge, but we will both be trying to put these things together. But that's what it's going to look like-ish. I think ours are going to be bigger. For the sake of time, I decided not to show you the whole rolling out process. Roll it out some
But
more.
what I do is I do it on the edges, stretch it out, not in the middle, because you want it to be, thicker. And then I just kind of do it like that.
Okay. So a couple good ones have been made. Now it's my turn. I'm going to put a full scoop in there of the mixture. And then I'm told a key and important part is a dollop of butter. All right.
Yep.
And then another scoop. That's too much, about half of that. About that. So about 1.5 cups are going in there. And you want to stretch it this way.
This way a little bit. There you go.
And then
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I kind of look like a child being taught how to tie their shoelaces because I've never done this before. I'm a newbie. Okay.
And then I usually look at it, because you don't want big holes or anything. Just kind of push it down and pinch it. And then very carefully turn it over.
I'm laughing while editing.
Set it down. And then kind of shape it. There.
Oh, big.
That's good.
And then put it on the baking tray.
Okay.
So we got 10.5, 11.5, and 12 ounces because we decided to put them on a scale and see how close we were to the other ones we saw. Neither of us were really thrilled with how they looked, but that can happen with homemade stuff. It all comes down to what they're going to taste like, don't you think? Okay, we're going to put those in the oven, GoPro stuff. 45 minutes at 350 in the oven and going back to making some more because we made a lot of filling. So we're going to make some pasties. When we get a chance to make these again, and we'll shoot for making a prettier one, I actually have an idea that I might try to make these all on my own, but I will probably cheat when I do it.
It's a doorstop.
It does look like a doorstop.
Mm-hmm. This one's littler. It's a little bit smaller.
All right, this is the one I chose because if you see here, it's kind of got a smiley face. That's my thing. And I will say I heard off camera because I have not taken the first bite of this yet. Oh my God, you can't even tell it's vegan. That's what the cook said. So I'm going to cut into it. Now again, the trickiest part of these is the crust. Oh my God. I think they look pretty darn good and you can make these at home. Okay, let's see. They're hot. They just came out of the oven. The crust wasn't as good as we hoped. Kind of gave us a new respect for Gene K's, but the taste is what's going to matter. See that steam coming off it? I'm going to burn my mouth, I know it. Okay, first bite. Definitely better than the vegan pasty we had from a place in Munising that I already reviewed on here. Definitely better than that. Once again, the voice I heard before I took my first bite is normally right when it comes to food. The impossible... Do this again. Here we go, see? The impossible is like real meat. It really is. You can taste a subtle difference between it and hamburger. This pasty's good. Not good, but damn good. I did another review of 3 of my favorites, and We called one of them, we heard its name was the Big Ugly Bastard, but it tasted fantastic. We've kind of determined that these are the Big Ugly Bitch. Looks together. It's a good looking pasty. That's what a pasty's supposed to look like. I'm not upset about this at all.
No animals were harmed in the making.
No animals were harmed. So this comes down to a point I've been wanting to make. There are many ways, if you're going to eat vegan, to have fake meat. The easiest ways are like Beyond and Impossible, like this. Other different types of crumbles and stuff like that. And then there's soy, obviously, tofu, and seitan, which you make with Vital Wheat gluten and you try to get that meat-like texture. There's tempeh. You can turn lentils into meat in a way. For those of you that say you don't get enough protein, a pound of spinach has as much protein as a pound of beef, I learned today. Maybe that's why Popeye was always eating his spinach. And I honestly believe if you consider yourself to have a discerning palate, it's just good. It really is just as good as hamburger in there. So I will say with 0 reservations, this being my second one, this is by far the best vegan pasty I've ever had. Because that one in Munising was not good. So there you go, YouTubers. That's making pasties. Again, you can swap it out with hamburger. You can use lard instead of vegan butter. And that's what a pasty is. We made a bunch, but a big secret is when you get a rutabaga, get a small to medium one because they're so sweet, sweeter than any I've had before. Made them awesome. All right, YouTubers, flying. I just cut open my second vegan pasty. Look at that steam. It's steaming it up. Pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. Do you don't want vegan? Throw some meat in there. Don't use vegan butter. Throw some lard in there. 100% honest with you, these didn't turn out pretty, but they tasted fantastic. I'll definitely do these again. Okay, YouTubers, I'm back from my third pasty tonight. And I gotta tell you, they're good. These vegan pasties came out really good. We've been talking about them as I ate my first 2. And we've decided if you're gonna make these, you might want to add a little bit more butter and maybe a little bit more onion than we did. The amount of pepper we had was good. You could always add more. But let's open this sucker up. Look at how dense that is. That's a good darn pasty. I'm telling you, you non-vegans out there would be surprised. The Impossible does a good job. I again would suggest I would not use Beyond for this. It would just be too much. It would be overwhelming. But the Impossible works very well with it. It doesn't override the other good flavors. And rutabaga, if you get a good one, they're nice and sweet. This is just a great Upper Peninsula meal. And I'm going to eat my third one. You fly over and say, have a great and wonderful day.